Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, when you want to talk about someone that not only has true character, someone that has a personality that immediately is electrifying, it attracts you in some kind of way. You know when you meet somebody that just has a really good soul, or when you meet someone that has a very smart sense of awareness, knows how to network, is driven, has ambition, and puts it all together in one. Then you're talking about a guy named Rex Fisher. And you're on the Mental Margarita Show.
Hey, hey, man, I can't believe you doing this to me, man. He's doing this to me, y'all on TV. Hey, brother, I appreciate you, man. And to hear someone thinks of you so highly, someone as established as yourself, and just to be on this platform, I saw Deanna Martin on here. And
Yeah.
I love the Rat Pack and Dean and Savvy and Frank. So I saw that on your show. I'm like, wow, he's got Martin, he's got Mr. Serve on. I said original No Limit Soldier. So
Yes, Lord.
it's an honor, and I'm humbled to be a part of the Mental Margarita Show. Thank you so much, Sly, for allowing me to be a part of this.
Absolutely, my brother. Absolutely. Now let's take it back now. Let the audience know where you're born, where you're raised, all that good stuff.
Okay, it's a great story, man. I was born and raised in Fort Worth, Texas, south side of Fort Worth, Texas. And this is for those that have never been to Texas before. I know when y'all hear Fort Worth, you think Dallas. Two completely different universes. But yeah, I'm from Fort Worth, Dallas Metroplex. I grew up in South Fort Worth. Uh, the historical South Side is where my grandparents they bought their home in the 1950s, and that's where my family has been for the last I don't know almost 60, 70 years. My mother, when she got married, we moved to the hillside area, south side of Fort Worth. So we lived all over the south side, the Morningside district, the hillside district, the historic south side is where our family started.
Wow, fantastic. And now you got your education, Fort Worth ISD?
Fort Worth ISD. Oh yeah, man. Fort Worth
Does
ISD.
that ring a bell?
Yeah, that rings a bell. Fort Worth ISD is one of the most interesting school systems in Tarrant County. Something great happened this year. Uh, a school in our area won a state championship in football, but
Wow.
the technicality was this: they were in the 817 area code. They were in Tarrant County, but they were not a Fort Worth ISD school.
Wow.
And that's because the funding for the school is so terrible. And the reason for that, it goes back to why public school funding is something that we will hope that they will try to reshape in this new administration. Because school funding, a lot of people don't know, is based on property value. It's based on the
Mm.
live in. So the lower the property value, the lower the funding for the schools. And I believe that that was an issue for Fort Worth ISD schools to this day, till right now,
Wow. All
and
this time and still.
yes, yes. And so when you go into schools in Fort Worth, man, your textbooks are outdated, the covers are coming off of them, but
Mm.
we made do. And I met some great teachers and great principals and stuff like that. There's a lady that lived in our community. Her name was Miss Jackson. She was our third grade teacher, and Miss Jackson didn't hesitate to jack you up, and you got out. So I remember her, and
Isn't it funny? You always remember those. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yes. Well, you know what? Our elders really care about us, especially
Right.
in that era. They really cared about us, and they were still, under the old law. It take a village.
That's
So
right.
Miss
That's
Johnson
right.
out of line, or Miss Jackson see you out of line, or Aunt Baby down the street see you out of line, boy, you gonna get it. And that's
That's right.
going up down south.
That is so true. And it's crazy because me growing up, it was the same exact way. Even though I grew up in Miami,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I never forget my kindergarten teacher spanking my behind. And
Yeah.
I got so angry that I thought that when I told my mother everything was gonna be all right, my mom was gonna go check her.
Right.
And boy, did my mom check me.
well, that's good parenting, man. That's
Yeah, it is.
good parenting. That's great. So that's how it kind of was growing up in Fort Worth. The school district struggled, because our community was, on the poverty line, But the interesting thing about living in South Fort Worth, the first millionaire in Texas, his house was actually black millionaire, excuse me, from Texas. His house was actually down the street from where my grandfather bought his home. And, my
Wow.
mother and all of them were raised, and all of her siblings. And then even my older cousins and stuff grew up in that house. The family still owns the home. So that's the thing about South Fort Worth, where in some communities, if one person is poor, most of the time everybody is out of there.
Everyone's poor.
But
Yeah.
in South Fort Worth, you had some well-to-do people that lived amongst the community in the Terrell Heights area. And on Terrell Heights, it's just like a long street. You got a prestigious Catholic school that's on that street, Our Mother Mercy. Our Mother Mercy's Catholic school, where people went through that school for generations. And
Yeah.
you know, Evans Avenue was like a business center in South Fort Worth for the African American community. You had Dr. Clarence and Jack Brooks. They operated in their practice on Evans Avenue, as well as pharmacist Dr. Langley, who operated his business
Wow.
on Evans Avenue. And these are historical Black figures in our community who help be pillars in our community and serve people health care and provide medicines at a cheap price in that community. And you had all the hustles and stuff, around the way as well at the pool halls, like the 5 Star and
Oh, that stuff.
yeah, and all that kind of stuff.
And church was a big deal too for you.
Yes. Oh, yes. My at one of them grandmothers, let me say this. You say, man, you did some research on this, did you? Say the thing about Sly gonna find out. Yeah, Big Mama and them, they was from a small town, a smaller town in Texas, Fairfield, or Oakwood, very small town. So the Baptist church is a very big pillar in the community. And so my grandmama, I didn't get that many trips to the church house with her because she was an older age by the time that I got to that age. But you knew in Cat Ryan's house, oh yeah, you going to church on Sunday, brother. And you
Going.
and you might be at Bible study on Monday, and you probably get youth meeting on Wednesday, and it's a usher board meeting on Thursday. I got because ain't nobody to watch you, so y'all got to come with me here too.
You gotta go with them.
So, at my household, or traditionally, my family, you're gonna be at the church house probably 5 days out the 7-day week, just because that's how involved my grandmother was, and my
Was in church.
cousin became that way when we were growing up. So she was the one. If you spent the night over there at her house, and hey, I don't want to go to church in the morning. Oh, I ain't clothes. Oh, well, you ain't got to worry about that. I already washed your clothes. Your clothes in the washer. They're gonna be in the dryer. I see y'all. Y'all put the night out there. Good night. Love you. And everybody got to get up and load the clothes.
Everybody gotta get up.
Yeah, you going to church. So
I know all about it.
yes. And that kind of honed my skills to want to perform and speak and do those type of things because you're gonna participate and be in the programs, whether it's
Right.
whether it's Black History Month program, whether it's a revival or
Right.
events that the church throws, you're gonna participate as being a part of the youth ministry. So, that's where I kind of hone my skills to perform and do public speaking.
Here's a picture of Rex as a young boy with his father. Rex is also a loving and dedicated father whose daughter was a featured young athlete in March of 2025 on the Second Opinion Sports Show, which airs weekly on the CW Eastern North Carolina. Our featured athlete is Teresa Ryan from Fort Worth, Texas. Teresa is a senior at Fort Worth South Hills High School and is an amazing basketball player repping her team of Lady Scorpions. She also plays flag football and participates in track and field. Academic All-District, she won 2023 Team Defensive Player of the Year and also was a Castleberry Basketball Tournament champion in 2024. Teresa was also on the UIL debate team as a junior and sophomore during 2022 and 2023. Teresa loves baking cookies, majors in psychology, and plans to attend Prairie View A&M University near Houston, Texas. Now let's give a big high five to Teresa Ryan.
And you did public speaking, and you developed the love for the performing arts. You developed the love for hip hop.
Yes,
What
sir.
was what was the beginning stages of that?
Yes, sir. Well, it's funny. Like I told you, we're a close knit family. Like even to whereas my uncle, one of his the woman he has his children with, one of his wives, my aunt, they used to go to this show. It was real popular down here in Texas. It was Flavor TV. And on this show, it was like Soul Train at first. It developed into a video show later on, but it was like Soul Train at first. So they would dress like Salt and Pepper to me. You know what I'm saying? Or JJ Fad. They had that type of fashion look to them with
JJ Fad.
The hair and the big hoop earrings. And I'm like, Auntie, them look like the girls on TV. They look like the rapping girls on TV. So they like to dance and stuff like that. So Flavor TV, it was a show that was modeled after Soul Train. It was showed on late night television, local in Fort Worth. So one night we stayed up to watch it, and there's my aunt on TV dancing. I think it was one of her sisters. And so we're seeing them be on TV, and we all excited, and it gave me a love to perform because that's what we would do when I would go visit my cousins in Butler Housing. I would make up silly songs and rap them, and we'd laugh, and this was a way we would entertain ourselves because we ain't got no whole bunch of money, man. So hip hop culture, as far as the fashion, as far as the music and performing, having a good time was something that was always around. My cousins and my older brothers, and they love rap music. My brother's one of those guys that spend thousands on stereo system. And he's got some of the loudest music on the block. So I always had love for hip hop because I've always loved the music and the culture as a whole.
And you know what? You loved it so much, now you start your own indie label, huh?
Well, yeah. That's something that it's a product of Fort Worth ISD. With us being kids that they didn't really have no extracurricular programs for us. Me and some friends of mine, at this time, it wasn't as accessible as it is now to do a CD or to do a song. And the in-home equipment was way more expensive. A computer was made way more expensive 20 years ago. You talking $1,200 for a computer back then.
It was, yep.
Whereas now, $375, you're out the door. Got a nice laptop. Capabilities.
You go to Walmart now and get some.
Yes, and then you got all the software. So in that time, you didn't have all that. You might have had a friend who had a keyboard, which we did, which was Robert Richardson. He had a keyboard. I met him through his brother, Roderick. We rap battled each other. See, I did so many rap battles in my neighborhood and at my middle school. By the time I reached high school, everybody know, oh yeah, that's Madonna's. He can rap. They call me the mic doctor. So they like, yeah, that's Mike Doctor, that's MD right there. He can rap. So I would do little battles, in that middle school, junior high gym at Morningside Middle School. We'd be inside the gym on a day like this in the winter. They have us in the gym because there's nowhere else to house all the children. So
Right.
gym, and rest in peace to my homeboy, Michael Deadman, Pooh Bear. He was one of the great guys that could take the pen and the pencil and put it on the bench bleachers and make,
and do his thing with it. Yeah.
make a beat that's crazy. So I did that all through junior high, and then people would notice me, rapping at the Hillside Park, or some of the street hustles had even heard about me, and they had bought some of my mixtapes that we burned, and I would freestyle for them, or they say we'll buy a CD from you, but bust a rap right now on the spot. So
Right.
the reputation for freestyling. And so me, Robert Richardson, Roger Richardson, Ken Waits, Ant Lampkin, Rico Palms, my guy Elijah Small, we all formed a group. And when we formed that group, we say, we're going to operate like an independent label. Because, at that time, it was cool to be underground. Everybody everybody want to sign a major label deal. But back in the G, the thing was to be independent. Everybody wanted to do their own underground record label. So we was like, we're going to be like No Limit. Nah, we're going to be like Cash Money. Nah, so that's how we thinking about it. So we say, well, look, we're gonna call ours Impact Music, and we'll be like Swisher House and like DJ Screw and the Screwed Up Click. We in the underground rankings, now that we got our crew. So man, we saved up our lunch money when we were in high school as sophomores, because the nucleus of our group all went to the high school, same high school. We all ended up going to Trimble Tech. A few homeboys went to ODY, which was the Richardson brothers. They ended up going to ODY, and we was going to Trimble Tech. Me, Rock, and Elijah, who's Elijah Small he's from Queens, from Flushing, Queens, New York. Shouts out to my boy Elijah. We should call him DJ Chops. But anyway,
DJ Chops in the building.
Yeah, shouts out to my guy. Anyway, by the time we made it in 10th grade, we decided we need to make our own music on disc. So what we began to do, we would hold rehearsals at my house and make tapes at first. So we had a guy who had a karaoke machine, a mixer. Robert Richardson had the keyboard, and he would just make the beats live. And you would have to try to one take your verse and do the verse like that, because we got a karaoke machine and a recorder. So there's no punch in. Like today.
Right, ain't no punch ins.
Yeah, see, like now, artists now, they make a mistake, they can just punch in to where they made the mistake. But in that era, on that type of equipment, there was no punch ins. So as we went on and started to work with better equipment, we would save money in the studio because we had the ability to one take songs. And sometimes we would notice the engineers that we were working with, they would try to take a little bit longer, you know what I'm saying, to make sure.
Right.
But that was fine. Time to make it sound right. Mix and master. Take the extra time. But as far as dropping the verse, we could all nearly one take a song because of the original process we did in high school of recording our music on the karaoke machine and basically recording live. There was no studio effect to it. We just take the mic, he perform the beat on the keyboard.
Just get busy.
And that gave me a love for the game. We put out a couple mixtapes in high school. The first one, it did very well. We sold 100 copies within the first 2 days at $5 a copy. So, you had 15, 14-year-old kids, made $500.
Right, that's money. That's money now.
Yeah, we was pumped
up. Come on, man. You feeling it
there. Yeah, so at that point, we gonna do this hip hop thing forever. This is what we gonna do. We gonna, be in the local rap game, and that's something that I chased probably about 12 or 13 years. probably from the time I was about 12 years old. So I was probably about 15 years. I was about 27, 28 years old.
Well, I mean, yeah, because I'm seeing here, 2007, you created the Cousins.
Correct. Oh, that was a super group.
That was the South Seal Music.
Right. That was a super group. That was something that from the original group, me and Rock Waits, we stayed in contact with each other from the original group. The great thing about the original group, Elijah Small and Anthony Lampkin, who I mentioned, they ended up going on to be signed artists. They hooked up. They hooked up with the guy Ted down at Slip and Slide Records. They bumped into Rick.
Ted Lucas.
They ran into him. You from Miami, so you familiar. They ran into him, not him, but they ran into Ross at the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was hosted down here in 2011. I think it was Pittsburgh versus Green Bay, and it was a snowstorm down here, but people still went out to party.
Right.
Legit, which is what we call Ant, and Chops is what we call Elijah. They happened to be in the Super Bowl party. And Rick Ross was there. And technology now, the phone, they pulled up a SoundCloud or something. They let him hear the record. He heard the record. He really listened to the record and he enjoyed it. And he said, look, I can't sign y'all to Maybach Music Group right now because I got too much going on with Wale. Wale was just getting hot at that time.
Wale was getting hot.
So he said, I can't work you guys right now because I got to put my focus over here, but I can hook you up with some really good guys down in Miami if you can make the trip to Miami. So they went down there to Miami and they ended up signing to Slip and Slide. I don't know the details of the situation down there, but those two brothers went on to be signed artists down there in Miami.
Wow, is that something?
Yeah, and so me and Rock decided to form the super group, the Cousins, with D-Go So Fly, who was an artist, who was a solo artist.
Tell me, yeah.
So with him performing his solo records and being popular in, his area, he was real popular over there on the Southwest side and over there at Arlington Heights High School. He was real popular over there. And so with us knowing about him and us doing a few songs with him, we say, well, hey, man, you're good at this. We're good at this. We got some momentum going. Let's just do a whole tape. And we did a tape called Texas Plates and Great Tapes. And then we did a whole bunch of work with a guy up there in Canada. He's a popular podcast host, I think. I don't know if can I say his name on here? Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a guy, shouts out to him, DJ Bankrupt in Alberta, Canada, Music Money Mixtape. He gave us some of our first out-of-market appearances on, a digital platform as far as being on someone's mixtape who released something digitally. Back then, Dat Piff was real big. And so
real big. Dat Piff was huge.
Yeah, and I believe that was the site that he uploaded this tape on. It was called Dropaholics Mixtape. We did like 2 or 3 songs for him. I think maybe one of those records made that mixtape. And then we did some stuff with some guys out of Oakland, LG from the Bay, and DJ Taco Sauce, also known as DJ Tea Time. We did We Grind Hard Volume 1 and We Grind Hard Volume 3, the Texas edition, which was a mixtape that featured mostly music from us. And we did those releases as the Cousins. We did Texas Plates and Great Tapes. And then we released a mixtape called Backs to the Future that we did in 2012.
Backs to the Future?
Yes. Because
nice.
We were seeing the direction that the culture was going back
then. Right.
As far as like, you don't hear live instrumentation in hip hop no more. Live instrumentation used to be real big when you had you hear it a lot out of the California artists like DJ Quick used a lot of live music, and so did Too Short in the songs that was produced for him. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Down south, the person that would use real instruments and live music a lot was Pimp C of UGK. So
right, and Outkast.
Correct. Live instrumentation. So as we got to going into 2020s and around, I say 2015, you start hearing more synthesizer type sounds, which that goes back to the West too, because it's more like a Roger Troutman and Zapp type of sound. Or stuff that Travis Scott does, or a lot of the stuff that Daft Punk does. You start to hear that more on the hip hop side, especially with a lot of stuff that Kanye produced. So you hear a lot of that electronical type of rap and hip hop coming in the mid 2010s. So Backs to the Future was a project that we focused on heavy percussion, live instrumentation, and it's something that came out on Dat Piff at the end of 2012, 2013. It was the last project we did as the Cousins, and it was one of the bigger ones because we really dug into that. We did a lot of shows with Afton shows. Shouts out to Mike Ratty. We did the Aardvark on Berry, which is in the TCU district, which is near the college campus. A lot of college kids go to the Aardvark. Many years ago, Stevie Ray Vaughan played there. So it's one of those.
That's a legend right there, Stevie.
Yes, it's one of those. It's one of those.
I lived in Texas, man. Stevie's a popular figure, boy.
Yes, it's one of those.
They love some Stevie.
Fort Worth is one of those places where people don't know it's there, but once you go there and you talk to people from there, you're like, I heard of that person. They're from here, and it's like, yeah, wow, I heard of that person. They're really from. It's like, yeah, because it's kind of lost in the shadow of Dallas. Dallas is such a glitz and glamour town. You got the Cowboys, you got Highland Park. I mean, you got a former president that lives out there. And it's one of those things where Fort Worth is a smaller town, it's a smaller market, and it's quiet. And the powers that be that really run this town, I think they've got it that way. So, but as far as go ahead.
You had it, not to interrupt you, but you had it that way as far as on the executive side of things, because we're hearing you talk about, you being an artist and all the things that you did creatively, but when you were working with the Cousins, you had the opportunity to be a vice president, correct?
Yes, and
that translated moving on in the future of you actually managing an artist.
Yes. And the challenges of doing all of that, which is going to bring me to a really big point about hip hop right now. The artists just don't want to do the work. Period. They just don't want to do the work. With all of this technology that we have right now, in my town, we don't even have one artist on the radio down here. And it's such a big market to the point where there's always artists from Dallas that can do it. But in Fort Worth, it's a rarity to see that. So me, with working with the Cousins, what I was doing was just simply trying to show people that it can happen if you properly market a group. Now I ran into some roadblocks, but we were able to do local radio with KNON 89.3. Show over there. Shouts out to DJ El Cochino. There was some brothers over there in the Latino hip hop community that had got some of the music from the Cousins, and they enjoyed the music. And so it was All-Star Weekend 2009. The Dallas had the All-Star game. I went out to 89.3 and did an interview with El Cochino on his radio station. He played our song at the time, which I believe was Bang Bang Bigelow, which was a song that we entered in the 97.9 Hometown Showdown for local artists. Now, local radio would do little competitions like that to get your song on the radio. You may have a rotation, you may have not, but we always took the opportunity to enter those contests. We even auditioned for Showtime at the Apollo. So my job as a president and an executive was to try to create the best situation for these artists to live their dreams. So it's my job to try to get you seen by as many eyes as possible. Even if I can't help you, sell 100,000 copies, 1,000,000 copies, which no one does anymore. No one does that anymore. Who
No,
cares
not at all.
happen is in the first week anymore? Nobody does that anymore. So
No.
my job as a president is to see the changes in the industry and know that, hey, the money ain't attached to the record itself no more. If you could get a song on the radio, great. But if you're indie, that's tough. So your money is attached to your performances. So that's why I put the cousins with acting shows and we would perform shows. That's why I would try to get out and book my own venues and put together talent shows for the local talent, because this is how we generate money for the underground. The money is linked to the performances. And even on the mainstream side, it's the same way. The performances and the merchandising. You'll get a little bit on the back end with the publishing if you can get radio spins, and that's tough. Whether it's digital, internet radio, or whether it's the local radio, those spins are tough. So you try to create a following that'll go to Spotify, that'll go to Apple Music and listen to you. Other than that, you want to attach everything to performances, whether it's music videos or whether it's live performances. And so that was an angle we was trying to work and set up with the cousins. It didn't happen because the group dissolved before I could get them there, and I resigned from that position at South Seal Music. I believe that the label dissolved a little bit later on because of D Gold did a solo album called Dirty Laundry, and I did a solo album over there called The Black Baron. But those projects really didn't do as well as our collective projects. And then later on, that Piff ended up not being online no more, and all of that stuff. It lost the buzz that that website was bringing. The platform wasn't as useful as it was. So we went doing something else, which was Drink Sipper.
Now we're talking.
Now this guy's
now we're talking Drink Sipper.
This guy was a guy that I discovered who actually just came across me and was like, man, I heard you rap. And I ignored the kid. I can't lie. He was a younger guy at the time. And I was probably about 26 at the time, 27. And I got my family, got small children. I was dealing with cleaning up all of the mess with the cousins, because you got to make sure all of your music is published. The total catalog that the cousins did is published. No matter how the releases did, I want to make sure it's not public domain music. So a lot of records I had to look through the archives and say, we're going to keep this song, we're going to scrap this song. We're going to publish this one, we're not going to publish this one. I don't care about that record. He wants to take this record with him, let him take it and put that on his project. Da-da-da-da-da. So with cleaning all that up, I didn't want to deal with a fresh artist. This guy was so persistent. This guy was so consistent. And hey, man, I just need a little help. How does this sound? Well, what if I did this to try to attract new fans? Or it was always with the questions. So I was like, man, dang. All right, man, okay. All right, I'll work with you.
You felt this hunger.
Yes. I mean, and shouts out to him, Cesar Ramirez, also known as Drink Sipper. Incredible young man, incredible artist. Shouts out to my younger brother. Me and him, we built a great bond with each other. We did shows in Houston together. And we did a radio show out there in Grand Prairie with this guy who deals with wrestling now. He goes by the name of Tony Snow. He deals with professional wrestling right now. He did running around with, he did some territories in Oklahoma, running around with legendary Teddy Long, who was in the WCW and the WWE.
Come on now. Teddy Long, yeah.
So these are the guys that Tony Snow was running with. So Tony Snow was a guy who was on the road with the Clover G's.
Uh-oh.
He got a hold of some of the music that Drake Sipper did after me working his tape and us going to the studio and recording a couple records together. There's a studio that everybody has used in Fort Worth. It's an engineer everybody has used in Fort Worth. He doesn't get a lot of credit, but he's like a Michael Watts or like a DJ Screw. He's like that for us for Fort Worth, and that's Mr. Finn. You know what I'm saying? Also known as Finn Entertainment. Everybody in Fort Worth, some guys in Dallas, some guys in Houston, all over this state now work with this guy. Heck of a producer, heck of an engineer, and he got connections that you wouldn't believe. But anyway, we worked with Finn a lot. We did some songs with him. We performed at his club, the Aquarium Lounge, which was on Evans Avenue, that historical street I was telling you about in the South Side. It was actually
Right.
across the street from Dr. Langley's pharmacy, the famous black pharmacist I was telling you about. But anyway,
Right.
we performed for Finn at the Aquarium Lounge. We recorded music in his studio, Finn Studios, and somehow or another, some of our music got a hold, or Tony Snow got a hold of some of our music. He liked the record. He says, "Look, man, I'm a roadie with Flip and the Clover G's. I go do a lot of work for him. I can put you in contact with him, and I could get y'all a feature if you got the monies." So we discussed it, and we said it's pretty much nothing to discuss. We do the record with this guy. This guy was in the SUC. This guy,
right.
This guy was signed to Sony and $20 million and all of these great things.
Right, little Flip. Come on now.
So we don't pass this opportunity up. He could get the record cleared for us. All we got to do is get the monies together. I can't disclose how much the feature was, but it was for a very generous price. We put the money together. We made it happen. I didn't have enough money to get the video too. I wish I would have been able to get that. It would have been even more epic. But we was able to get the song done. I was able to go back to my old connection at 89.3, DJ El Cochino.
That's how you connect the dots.
Exactly. With Drake Sipper being a part of the Latino community and being part of Latino hip hop and being a new angle that I was working as a manager, I said, well, look, man, meet this artist. We got a record we want you to hear. It's got a little Flip on it. It was executive produced by me. The beat on there was produced by Will Strumental, who was a very popular guy around the area. He got some radio plays and he had some major hits. He had a record with this group called Cadillac and Pee Wee. It was called Work the Middle. The record was so big, it brought out Pinky the porn star. I mean, it was a huge record. This 2010. One of the times that Fort Worth was up and we got on the radio. But it's a rarity. But these are one of the guys that got on the radio. Shouts out to Will Strumental. At the time, we had some kind of relation in there. I got a family member that I think was engaged to be married to one of his family members at the time or something like that. So I had a real good way to get in contact with him. I got in contact with him. I got him to drop the track. We recorded the track in his studio. We sent the record off to Flip. Flip did his verse. We got in contact with El Cochino. We made the date. We got it playing on 89.3. Now we're on the road to Houston to do a show near SU campus. And all of this was in a matter of 8 months with me working with this artist. So, just my passion for the game.
Things happen.
Yeah.
When the time and when the stars align, man.
Yes. And that's just like this, man. Meeting you.
It's kind of like, right, I was about to say, it's kind of like us.
Right. I was just in
Pride and Egos, and Rosedale, and Mental Margarita Show, the way that we connected.
Yes. It's great, man. I was just in Vegas trying to have a good time, man. And I did. And you showed me a good time, and everything was great, man. And we continued to work momentum. with the shoe. We did Rosedale Cypher 4, which was a lot of fun.
And speaking, let's get the elephant out the room right now, okay?
Okay.
Let's talk about Rosedale clothing.
All right. Hey,
Because you left the music scene.
yeah,
You just gave us that whole journey. And
right.
it's a wonderful journey.
And it was great.
But now you're on something new and something exciting that I'm excited about. Tell
Yes.
us about Rosedale clothing.
Well, as you can see, I got on one of our designs right now. I don't know how well the camera's catching that, but this is
Nice.
actually a shirt that was designed for the Rosedale Cypher 4. Rosedale clothing came about like this. And this is a deep story about Rosedale clothing.
Uh-oh, gotta take the glasses off.
Yeah, man, because it's one of those type of situations, Slide. Um, my brother in 2006, he was convicted on drug and weapon charges.
Right.
And this was a situation to where it affected my whole family deeply. And he received the maximum sentence, which was 365 months. They give you your time in months when you go to federal prison. And after seeing that, the main thing you do, you say, well, how do we fight this? How do we combat this? And one thing that you can do for that other person is to try to keep their spirits alive, to keep them looking forward to something. Because
Right.
a lot of people, you tell them they getting 30-year sentence and they 37 years old.
Yeah.
You're pretty much thinking you're gonna die in there. So Rosedale clothing in its infancy was just an ideal to try to keep my brother's hope alive, that we can heal, and that when you come home, we're gonna do a business together, and it's gonna be a successful business. And from this point, you'll never have to worry about being in a situation to have your freedom taken away from you or a life taken away from you.
Yeah.
So from, attempting some of these things that we're subjected to in these communities and in these environments and under these conditions that, some people live under in America, you're subject to certain things. And I ain't at liberty to talk too much about his case, but during that time was the infancy of the brand. And what we were talking about, we wanted to create something that was going to be Black history geared, actually, in the beginning. So we were going to probably find designs and put some of our great American heroes on our clothing and go back into African history and find like Hannibal and King Mansa Musa and get people that people may not know, but get the people that we're familiar with: Carter G. Woodson, Huey P. Newton, Cleaver, Obama, people that we know, and then the people that we might not know. So we kicked that ideal around like the first 2 or 3 years. And this is just something that when he would call, we would talk about what we would do as far as creating the company. And so 2016 rolls around. He's won his appeal.
Wow.
The 30-year bid is reversed. We stayed positive. We stayed persistent.
You see that? See that energy?
He's coming home next year in 2017.
Wow.
Boom. We're excited. We're ecstatic. We're going to all be reunited as a family. He comes home in 2017. We got to make a new plan to put this clothing brand together once he comes out of the halfway home and once he's off of supervised release or whatever they call it. So anyway, supervision's over. It's 2018. We're kicking around ideas still for what we're going to create as our clothing brand. I says to him, maybe Black history is too preachy. We may not be able to get the youth involved. Because sadly to say, and I believe this is what our low self-esteem as a culture comes from, is that we don't have no attachment to our history and all of the greatness and all of the beautiful things that our people have accomplished, not just in America, but internationally. That's why I call my clothing brand Rosedale Clothing International.
International.
Because it's a world appeal and it's a world contribution that we have made, not only as our clothing brand, but as a people. We contribute to the world. And so we're not connected to that. We're not aware of these things because we don't study. And that's fine. We're not going to hit on that too much. But for that reason, I felt like that wasn't going to work in marketing as far as getting people to buy the clothing and market penetration. One of the biggest, while studying and preparing to do the launch of Rosedale Clothing International, one of the things that I noticed was independent brands, they lacked market penetration. That means seeing people buy and actually wear your product. You would have people buy it and wouldn't wear it. You'd have people who would wear it, but they want you to give it to them for free. So
exactly. And that happens a lot.
Yes. So being able to find that balance was what I wanted to figure out. So what I said was, bro, we need to come up with something that everyone will identify with and something that would be cool. And so we kicked the idea around what's something that everybody knows in Fort Worth and that everybody can identify with. And so it came out as a neighborhood thing. At first we were saying, let's make a South Side shirt, you know.
Right.
And then he said, well, no, bro, I don't like that because if we do South Side, we only going to get customers on this part of Fort Worth.
Right.
So I said, well, we could call it Fort Worth Clothing. He said, that sounds too bland. We don't even call Fort Worth. We say Funky Town, say Money Worth. And then, you know, people that want to be, you know, you got the drill kids and all that now, they say Murder Worth. So, you know, you got all these different connotations of the name of the city. And Fort Worth is not one that we use. So they say that's kind of cheesy, bro. I don't like Fort Worth clothing.
Right.
So we say, well, Rosedale is business 287. Rosedale goes through 4 of the historical communities of Fort Worth. 5 of the historical communities of Fort Worth. Rosedale has some of the historical Fort Worth businesses. I say, Rosedale Clothing.
There we go.
Say it sound good, but it still sound too local. I say, well, man, you too difficult. Call it Rosedale Clothing International. It applied to the world.
Oh,
yeah. and then he say, that's it right there. Rosedale Clothing International. And so from there, we had a friend of his that he was actually incarcerated with. He drew the original design. He actually drew us a couple more designs that we haven't even released and used. He drew us the original design. I went on a photo app on my phone and created a logo. And we saved the money up to do our first print. And we lost in our first print because what we did was we tried to just make so many shirt sizes for so many different colors.
Right.
Bad release. So, you know, we threw away like $300 in the first $500 that we invested. We threw that away. Bam.
Right.
And then all of the licensing and trademarking and the EI.
All that stuff. All that paperwork. Yeah.
Yeah. So we lost in the first year of the business for sure. But after the t-shirts, we did a release with the hoodies during the fall. And the hoodie was one of the best-selling products until we came with a jacket. We did the Rosedale Clothing jacket.
Yeah.
That was one of the game changers. So we began to see profits.
And that jacket was a game changer, huh?
Yes, because what it did was you're going to put a jacket on regardless. With a t-shirt, you usually got to coordinate it with your hat or your shoes or whatever.
Right.
The hoodie, same thing.
Rex Fisher is the CEO and founder of Rosedale Clothing. He's an international fashion designer and model. His signature line of clothing, with their rosebud decal for a logo, has been repped all over the world, from the USA to Uganda.
This jacket was a game changer. It was a one of a kind design. And what it was, the profit margin was perfect. I was almost doubling up on price of production as well as profit margin. So
Right.
you could spend $100 and make $100.
Right.
You know, that's five.
That's a no-brainer.
Yes. So we ran as many of those as we could. We took the money and we said, what can we do to expand our reach? So what I did was I created a vlog with Nephew World. Shout out to Nephew World. Very prolific videographer. He's done a lot of work with popular Fort Worth artists like Go Yayo and guys like that. So shouts out to Nephew World. He did a vlog for us where we went down to Rosedale and Evans, a place that we were selling our clothing because we didn't have a physical store. Everything
Right.
out of the trunk, everything was pulling up to events and trying to sell merchandise like that. Or people would contact us online. And if you were out of state or out of town, I'd get your mailing address and I'll mail you your merchandise.
Your merchandise, right.
Our reach went so far because of Facebook and Instagram engagements. I would make posts and I would post some of the content that we would create, like the vlog that we did. So with the reach being so broad on social media, what happened was we even had people from out of the country reaching out to us. Sierra Leone, Big Mo. Shouts out to Big Mo and Sierra.
Big stuff right there.
Yeah, that's my brother out of Sierra Leone. Showed a lot of love, man, and supporting our brand and our stuff out there in Uganda. Stewart made purchases from a guy who has a store in Kampala City, who he ordered a whole shipment of Rosedale clothing. So
Wow.
Sierra Leone, Kampala City, and TB Uganda, they all came on board with us in 2021. And so during the pandemic, we did a lot of good business because our content creation was keeping us in front of people because people were at home. So they spent a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
That time to create content like the Rosedale vlog, which was called Welcome to Rosedale, that was shot by Nephew World, and then Jordan Boyle shot the original Rosedale cipher, which was something that I created that was like a company advertising ad. We put the merchandise in the video for product placement, and it gets to reunite me with hip hop. It was the first verse I had did in over 6 years. And it was exciting to
You
work.
see how it all comes together?
Yeah, it worked with all those great artists like J Champ, Raw Truth, Courtesy, and then 2MB, Diego Solo. That was great. You know, that was a younger generation of artists hooking up with more established local artists. J Champ is somebody y'all ought to check out there in Vegas. He's from San Diego. He's a great artist. J Champ and Menace League. Y'all check him out. Check out Raw Truth, who is an artist from Detroit, by the way of Arlington, Texas. He's got a lot of good music on Spotify. I got these guys to work with me on Rosedale Cypher 1, and it did good. Jordan put together a great video shoot. We did that at Finn Entertainment in Finn Studio, and it came great. And we received such a great response from that after releasing that single. People reached out and asked for a second cipher. So then we did Rosedale Cipher 2. By this time, we've created more clothing products. So now we got the Rosedale short sets. We got Rosedale t-shirts, of course.
Starting to expand. The brand is expanding.
That was the ideal, because this was the thing with me, Sly. During the pandemic, you had a lot of people try to create clothing brands or their own businesses, and it was more of a money grab thing. I wanted people that was a part of the Rosedale clothing movement, a Rosedale Nation is what we like to call them. I wanted them to know, when you're spending money with us, we're increasing the brand, we're increasing the level of entertainment that we're providing. When you deal with Rosedale International, you're getting an experience. That's what I wanted to provide, and is an experience for people to enjoy our clothing and enjoy engaging with us personally, because I'm mailing these orders to you, or I'm pulling up and delivering.
Right. The passion is there.
Right. So you're getting to be a part of us, getting to do things like this, getting on TV. You know, I never CW. CW is a channel that I will watch Smallville on and stuff like that. So this is a dream come true, and it's all come from our community supporting us locally and abroad. And I always wanted to keep that connection with people. So that's why when we did the Cypher 2, we shot it in South Fort Worth. We made it to where it was an open event, so anybody could come out to it. And that was experience. And we showed the Rosedale clothing baseball tee, which was a new design that I created at the time with the company logo on it. See, that's something that people don't know. When we did Rosedale clothing, the Rosedale design with Rosedale on the chest, that was our first design. This is the company logo. There's a difference.
There's a big difference.
Making t-shirts with your company logo on there and then creating designs.
Right.
That's what we did with the Rosedale hoodie. That's what we did with the Rosedale jacket. That was a design that we were creating. And we have the artistic expression of hip hop. So I treat every product like a release. And so after having 2 successful ciphers, I start pairing new product releases with the ciphers. So that's why we did 3, which featured the Rosedale snapback. We did the snapback, and we did the Evans Ave t-shirts, which was the second brand and imprint that I've been slowly developing, bringing along to commemorate the business district of Evans Avenue. Because I'm telling you why, people don't know, Evans Ave was like Tulsa's Black Wall Street at one point. When you go to Stop 6 in Eastwood, that's an agriculture area of Fort Worth. So you had a lot of black cowboys, which I'm saying that there's no such thing as a black cowboy. The cowboys were the black guys. So that's a misconception.
Right.
And that, you know, those
were the originals.
They just were cowboys. They don't have black on it. Those cowboys, they had ranches in Eastwood and Stop 6. So that was an agriculture area of Fort Worth. And Evans Ave and Rosedale 287 was more like a business center. So this is where, like I said, you could go see a doctor. You could go to, of course, the NAACP. These women's social clubs were on that street. All these illustrious businesses like the Barber College. You had a restaurant over there, Drake's area, that was on Rosedale Street, that was near Evans. You had Papa's Burgers and Fries. You had great catfish down there that was near Evans and Rosedale. So
loving some catfish.
Yes, it was a great. All of those places are gone because of gentrification. And now you got new developers moving in who are not allowing the entrepreneurs from the community to take part in the new developments. Like me, I wasn't eligible to put a brick and mortar store for Rosedale clothing on Evans Ave or Rosedale Street. So what we used to do, we used to just pull up in our cars and set up tables and do our thing there.
Not yet.
Not yet. If you come to Fort Worth, though, you'll see civil rights monuments and stuff like that on Evans and Rosedale. So this is more of like a tourist attraction, and we were using our merchandise to kind of embrace and embody the spirit of the people in that community. And so
Right.
we would attach the ciphers as an advertising ad. I don't want to alienate myself from Ralph Lauren or from Tommy Hilfiger or any of the big designers. They do
Mhm.
ads when they come out with a new release or
That's right.
they do ads. So since we do hip hop and we're in the lane of hip hop clothing, we use the cipher to represent our seasonal or our yearly ads. Man, and it's been great to just come out with a shoe. And we debuted our shoe in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the picture of the shoe.
Yeah, we debuted our shoe last year in Las Vegas for Juneteenth, and it was a great experience to get out there. And I met you out there during that time, actually.
That's right.
And I wore my shoe out there. We got a lot of good responses. We got a lot of good content while we were down there. I was just down there in September doing some work for Writer's Block. Writer's Block is a YouTube show that I'm working on that I'm going to bring to my channel. Uh, Subscribe to the Madonna's Rhyme channel on YouTube. That's my name as a film producer. It's my government and born name as a film producer. And as I try to get like you, Sly, and try to get into this television business, which is my next goal. I feel like I conquered the music. I'm working on conquering the fashion. I'm trying to get.
Hey, we could do it all together, brother.
Hey, well, that's the plan. People,
That's the plan.
value of networking, Sly.
That's it. We do it all together, man. That's the way to do it. And you know what? I think the audience wants to do it with you as well. And how do they reach you if they're interested in merchandise? If they're interested in any updates that you got going on with the company?
Well, again, we use social media as engagement. It's a big part of what we got going on. So what you would want to do, you would want to follow me on Instagram, TBM Rex Fisher on Instagram. You would also like to follow me on Threads. I'm on there as well, TBM Rex Fisher. You'd like to follow me on there. You'd like to follow me on Facebook or send me a friend request on Facebook, Rex Fisher on Facebook. And then you would like to like the Rosedale clothing page on Facebook as well. You'd like to subscribe to the Rex Fisher Vivo channel. And you'd like to subscribe to the Madonna's Rhyme YouTube channel. Those are all our social media contacts. This is the best way to reach me. If you're in Fort Worth, you're allowed to just see me walking down the street one day.
Right.
Let me know you're interested. We could talk business, and we've got a stock group that I'm working with right now. So we got some investment information that we're going to be sharing on the Madonna's Rhyme YouTube channel and on my Facebook Rex Fisher page. So people need to check that out too, because not only are we into making the money, we got to know how to invest the money, and we
got to know how to invest it.
And we got to know how to take care of our taxes. Two
Right.
people in this business of hip hop, whether it's the music side, whether it's the fashion side, whether it's the business side itself, as far as being a manager or being an executive, people don't take care of their taxes. Gotta handle that part of the business. It's very important.
That is real. That is deep.
Accounting is a very big part of business. You have to take care of that. And so that's what we try to do as well with Rosedale Clothing. We try to create content that's going to also give financial awareness. We're going to have fun. We're going to entertain you, but we also want to educate you as well. And that's one of the things I like about your show as well, is that you guys provide knowledge. So that's
Yeah, it's important. It's important.
yes, that's something else.
And there's there, it's so accessible now for all of us. So I mean, there's no excuse for you not to make a better choice than a previous one that may not have been good.
I totally agree. And one of the big things I like to touch on is that, in Fort Worth, um, the entrepreneur spirit has always been there, but it's been a fear of failure. Look,
Yeah.
you have to get out there and try to make things happen and get on this road. If I would have never took up the opportunity to go and meet you in Las Vegas, I wouldn't be sitting here being interviewed right now. And
Right.
this is going to attract potentially people that I've never, would have came across in a million years. And this is all on me taking a chance and saying, hey, I'm going to spend a few dollars and go out here and see what happens.
Right. Right. You got it. You have to be able to do that.
Yes.
You want to be in business. And speaking of business, shout out to our guy Gary Neal Jr., Pride and Egos Clothesline. Because I mean, he's just doing phenomenal things as well, and he's definitely part of the family.
Yeah, that's my brother, man. That's my brother, man. I really appreciate all the help that he's given me throughout the years. And the thing about Gary is a guy, if he says he's gonna be there, he's gonna be there. Gary is a guy that you can count on. And his work
Yeah.
means a lot. And so I just appreciate him embracing me as a young brother and being a mentor to me. There's a lot of things that I've learned from him. And Slice of Pie, that book series is really
Oh, so good.
the way that it's been received by the people, the way that he carries himself. A lot of people will let this stuff go to their head.
Yeah.
You got this guy, he's met Ghostface from Wu-Tang.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's been invited to the Stellar Awards. And he's done all
Yeah.
these great things.
Does so many great things. And let's not forget about the movie theater ad, man, that you guys just enjoyed and I was a part of,
yeah,
thanks to Gary. So I mean, he's opened up so many opportunities for all of us. And I think together we're all starting to open up opportunities for each other. And that's how you build something.
yes. That's kind of going back to some of the stories I was telling you about my career. Um, you know, I don't try to burn bridges. Like me and some of those guys that I was just naming that I were in groups with and I did business with, we don't talk to each other every day. But if they talk to you about me, I guarantee you they won't have anything negative to say. Because
Right,
I never
right,
had anything negative to say about them, you know, and that's
right,
content of a person's character. There's a dozen guys in this game, in this business, I have no dealings with anymore. I may have blessed their careers, they may have blessed mine,
right.
but there's no ill feels, no harsh feelings. And because of that, that shows you the character of the person, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And everybody's on YouTube. Not everybody's on television.
Now we're talking.
Everybody,
Rex, let's end it with that one. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on the Mental Margarita show, my brother.
hey, I appreciate the opportunity, brother. I'm completely humbled by this. Y'all go on YouTube, search Rex Fisher, Rosedale Cypher. You'll see the whole series of the Cypher. You'll see other music by me. You'll be able to subscribe to see more new content. Watch the Mental Margarita Show, Sundays, 2:35 a.m., Las Vegas, the CW. It's the hottest thing in town. It's going down, and you heard it from Funky Town. Y'all gonna make me act the no. Hey, man, I appreciate this, bro. Rosedale.
All right, brother.
And remember, Rosedale players ain't perfect. We just real and kids. Don't bro.
All right, brother. Love you, man. Be safe.
Oh, peace. Stay
safe.
All right.
Rex also works closely with his friend Gary Neal Jr., U.S. veteran, owner, and founder of Pride and Ecos clothing line. Gary Neal Jr. was also featured on the Mental Margarita Show and is the visionary author behind the transformative new book Pi, The Laws of Duality, and is proud to announce its official release. This thought-provoking work delves into the delicate balance between opposing forces and the profound laws that govern life, philosophy, and the universe. Scan the QR code to order your copy today. The Pride and Ecos line of athletic wear is a brand that tells a story about people representing individuality, diversity, equality. Everybody's got our own story. What's your story? Attention business owners, get your messages to Pahrump and Nye County by advertising with KNYE 95.1 FM, the big voice of Pahrump and Nye County. Call 775-537-6100. That's 775-537-6100. Before you plan your next event, call Balloon Pros Las Vegas. Our team is ready to make your wish come true. Whether you're rooting for your home team, planning a corporate event, a stadium job, or surprising that special someone for any occasion. If you can dream it, we can build it. Say it with love. Say it with balloons. Call 702-574-2021. That's 702-574-2021. Or visit balloonproslasvegas.com.
Starstruck, here's a sprinkle of the stardust. Hold your champagne glass and your cigars up.
See the guys with mob ties drive the cars up. Bright lights, most nights they buy the bars up. Candy coated Chevy cars on the highway. It's Frankie baby, it's on and this is my way. Dean Martin at the Sands this Friday. With Sammy Davis, here's a little hint where I stay. The city shines like Liberace's mansion, and you know Elvis had the whole city dancing. Showgirl silhouette steady prancing. Shout out to June, just the Copa Girls anthem. Legal gambling, yeah, that would tempt me. It's Sin City, holy water couldn't cleanse me. And Wayne Newton had the crowd in a frenzy. Live at the Stardust, the seats never empty.